Sweet Christmas.
Shout out to my birds.
Hello, hello, hello. This is Che.
This is Cory.
And this is the Next Time On Podcast, a podcast where two lifelong friends talk about all things amazing and all things fetid in popular culture. It'd be like if Starsky and Hutch, instead of being vaguely racist, were vaguely racist with a podcast. Is that fair, Cory?
I don't actually know. I don't know. I don't know, honestly. Never heard that take beforehand. I didn't know that one.
Today, we will be talking about our favorite movies of the year. This is the conclusion, the end of list week. If I get my editing and releasing schedule on point, happy New Year's Eve. If I don't, happy 2022. So we'll see. But if you have not already checked out our previous list week episodes, we did, of course, our favorite TV, our favorite comics, and our favorite everything else. Those 3 episodes should already be available. You can check that out on your RSS feed, wherever you're listening to us literally right now, or you can find that at the website at nexttimeon.net. And I'll just go right into the plugs because why not?
Let's do it.
You can also find us at Next Time On Pod on our social media platforms, and you can find our YouTube channel in the description below if you're listening to this. But if you're on YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe because we will be dropping more quality shit like this on the regular. But we've been at this for a million years. Cory and I have both been locked in our basements. So we're not going to dilly-dally. We're just fuck it. And we're just going to get right into it. And we're going to mix it up. We're going to start with my list because I think Cory's led the last...
all 3 of them.
Yeah, he's led all of them. All right, my number 10 through 6. Literally, as I've started this sentence, I do not know which of my 2 number 10s I'm going to pick. And I have decided it will be... Come on.
There you go.
Only Cory can see this. I literally have 2, a number 10 and a number 6 written down on the doc, and I could not decide between them. I'll probably lose sleep over this and regret this decision because I am a psychopath. But Come On is the Joaquin Phoenix black and white film dropped earlier this year from A24. I got my A24 sweatshirt on because I'm the kind of guy that wears his the sweatshirt of the band to the concert. I also didn't do this on purpose. It's just a very comfortable sweatshirt.
What's wrong with that? I don't
know. It's like a lame thing to do, but I don't really know why. I don't go to a lot of concerts or have a lot of band shirts, so it hasn't really come up in my life. But this is the Mike Mills directed movie about a the premise is there is a man who is I guess he's got a podcast, honestly. It's not a radio station, but it's a podcast. And he's going around interviewing kids about how they feel about the future. And as he's doing that, he gets a call from his sister who has a young son and has recently had some problems with her husband who suffers from I guess bipolar disorder or schizophrenia. It's not entirely clear, but it needs hospitalization for some mental disorder, which he's in danger himself. And because of that, she has to leave her son with her brother that she's kind of estranged from. And really, this is just a tour de force by Joaquin Phoenix, a guy who we've talked about a lot on this podcast. Unfortunately, I think mostly in conjunction with The Joker, which is not my favorite movie he's ever been in. Certainly not my favorite performance of his, which I think I said at the time. This is my favorite version. This is my favorite kind of Joaquin Phoenix, where he is quiet and reserved. It reminds me a lot of The Master, which is, obviously, I think at this point, beside that and Her, probably his 2 most celebrated performances. But I find this movie.
Her.
Yeah, I've told you the story about how I almost watched Her with my mom, right?
Oh my god!
Not knowing what the movie was about.
Oh no!
It was literally between that and the oh my god, Mr. Rogers documentary. And luckily, we chose the Mr. Rogers documentary because when I watched her like the next night, I was like, really, really glad I didn't do that.
I think I watched her in college with a bunch of people who had no idea. We had no idea what we were getting into, and I was the only one who liked it by the end. I think everyone kind of hated it halfway through, and everyone walked away except for me. And I'm like,
that doesn't surprise me.
Incredibly my shit.
Her is a movie of its taste. I think Come On actually is actually way more universal. It's beautiful, and I love the story, and I love the kids' performance in this, which is saying something because it's we've had a good year for child actors. But I'm supposed to be going quick through these, and I forgot that.
Yes, you are.
My number 9 is The Power of the Dog. You will be hearing more about this movie. Do not worry. It is about to run rampant on the award season. I'm predicting. Benedict Cumberbatch is so fucking good in this. Not to mention Kirsten Dunst, Jesse Plemons, really the Cody Smith Maphee. Thomas and Mackenzie shows up in one scene somehow. It's great. This movie is fantastic. Number 8, I have, and this will be a little bit weird because it was on everybody's 2020 list. Technically, it came out in 2020 at Sundance. If you weren't fortunate enough, like me, to go to Sundance, or unfortunate enough to live in like the state of Florida, I guess, where movie theaters opened in December, you couldn't have watched this movie until 2021. I didn't get a chance to watch the movie until 2021, so that's why it's on my 2021 list. And this is Minari, the Stephen Yun film directed by Lee Isaac Chung. It is the story of it's sort of like a fish out of water story in a lot of ways. The story of this American dream that a Korean family is trying to grasp in middle America, Arkansas. Just a collection of absolutely beautiful performances. Yoon Ya Jung won the Oscar for Best Supporting Actress, so that should tell you kind of everything you need to know about this, that the Korean actress took the Oscar for a pretty amazing performance. I will say she's definitely deserving of that. My number 7 just drove all the way to Brooklyn last night to watch this movie. So I'm really glad it was good. So otherwise I'd have been annoyed. The Tragedy of Macbeth, my most anticipated movie in a very long time. This is the Joel Cohen solo directing performance. He also is credited as writing for the screen. I don't really know if you should get credit for writing a Shakespeare play for the screen. I think you just copy and paste bars into different boxes.
Hey, he wrote it for the screen, all right? More than you did for the screen.
That's absolutely inarguable. I have to agree with you there. But of course, I love Joel Cohen. He made some really amazing visual decisions. This movie is beautiful. Go see it on the big screen if you can. Go see it in a better theater than I did. Shout out to Brooklyn Academy of Music, who has great speakers and terrible projectors. But
makes sense.
It reminds me a lot of this is going to be, I promise you, this is going to be the nerdiest thing I say all day. It reminds me a lot of the Joan of Arc movie from 1928. Yes, The Passion of Joan of Arc from 1928, and another very beautifully rendered black and white film with just hard edges and like beautiful set design and production design. I think this movie is very much in the lineage of that. I think it seems like every scene, I would say, if not every scene, basically entirely, almost entirely every scene is shot on a set. So they have this meticulous control over every single brick and mortar in every scene, and it's perfect. And it is saying something that I have waited this long to talk about: the two lead incredible performances from Denzel Washington and Frances McDormand, who are absolutely acting their ass off. The whole cast from top to bottom is pretty incredible. But Denzel Washington is having a ton of fun in this movie, clearly. And last of my first 5, the Harder They Fall. We'll just save it. We'll talk about it. It's on Corey's list too. So I'll pass it over to you, Corey.
Thank you. So for my list, I got number 10, No Sudden Moves. Che, the movie that Che and I were talking about briefly. I was struggling coming up with my number 10, admittedly. Been
I think
a weird year for movies.
I like this movie more than you do, but
you do. Yeah, it's funny. But I'm like, hey, it's been a weird year for movies for me for sure, and I'm very sad that I didn't get a chance to catch up on a lot of them.
I think it's been a weird year for movies in general for everybody. It's not as weird as 2020, which looking back at my 2020 list, I was like, man, didn't get to see like any movies that year. Had some rough ones on the top 10. Obviously, we're getting back into the theater a little bit more, which is nice. But yeah, I love this movie.
Number 9 is the Netflix animated film Mitchells vs. the Machines, a movie I didn't hear about, then I watched it a random night and fell in love with it. It is one of the funniest movies I've seen this last year, and the animation just proves that Sony Pictures has a very interesting style that I'm glad that they're stepping out from away from like the DreamWorks and the Disneys, and at least this, and I'm not sure that other films, but at least this and Spider-Verse so far have shown that they are very capable and willing to listen to different creators and make something very special. Maybe the movie just speaks to the inner like film nerd in me, but whatever. Who hasn't tried to follow their machines and gone up against parents and all that fun stuff?
Yes, of course. Who hasn't?
Who hasn't? Number 8, Shang-Chi and the Ten Rings. I was surprised how much I liked this. I missed martial arts films, and I didn't realize how much I missed them until this film started with that bus scene.
So fucking good.
Yeah,
one of the best action scenes of the year, easily.
Blew me away, honestly, with that scene. And I was like, oh, this is like awesome, and I want to see this again. That was the first film I think in a long time that I like. As soon as it came out, I watched it again. I've been just chomping at the bit to watch that film again. Number 7, the final installment in the Daniel Craig franchise, No Time to Die. Che and I talked about this briefly on a previous podcast. What's there to say? I thought this was a good finale. I enjoyed it.
It's a beautiful ending for a character we've all had honestly like a pretty longer relationship than I even really realized with
honestly,
James Bond.
Long. But no, I thought it was a really well done finale for a character like this. I love Daniel Craig's performance in this. I mean, everyone across the board in this really brought their all to this. There was it was very, very fun. Probably the funniest of his Bonds, to be honest. But I really enjoyed No Time to Die. And number 6, as Shay mentioned, The Harder They Fall.
Yeah, I mean, who knew Black Cowboys could be so much fun? I mean,
we got Django, we got Wild Wild West.
Don't do that. Don't put Wild Wild West in the same sentence as Django and The Harder They Fall. I just can't. I can't even abide it as a joke. It makes me so annoyed, especially
Blazing Saddles.
I love Blazing Saddles. After this week watching The Matrix, and all I was thinking the whole time is this could have been Will Smith.
Yeah.
This could have been Will Smith, and instead we got Spider Machine in the desert. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about The Harder They Fall. Both on both of our lists. And just an incredible cast, another amazingly charismatic performance from.
And I didn't hear about this movie at all until it was on Netflix, and I'm like, oh, how the fuck did I just never hear? I mean, I'm glad I didn't hear about it at all beforehand, but
it does seem like the Netflix marketing model is it's on your home screen, surprise, which it's working for them. So I mean, there are a few Netflix movies that you hear about before, unless they are really like Oscar bait movies or award season movies. Like obviously Don't Look Up was much anticipated after it's a follow up to Adam McKay's Vice, which of course did very well at the Oscars. But yeah, movies like this, I think Netflix is just like, we'll throw it on their home screen and they'll watch it. And
I'm glad they did.
Yeah. The movie's so much fun, and like you said, we talked about this before, but I obviously not all cliffhangers need to have sequels. I do love the cliffhanger at the end of this movie, and I would definitely watch a Regina King sequel, no question.
How did I not know there was a cliffhanger?
I mean, cliffhanger. We see that, like, I guess this is a spoiler, but we see that Regina King is not dead, but I don't think that's surprising to anybody.
I guess I just blocked that out at the end. No. But hey, I would love to see.
It's literally just like one shot of her. I think it's like her feet or her arm or something as she watches them ride away into the distance. It's very classic end to a Western. Which again, I think the thing that's really cool about this movie is it's got a lot of classic Western beats. Sometimes to his detriment, I think. I think the problem with Western beats is just like
well, they're sometimes slow as shit, and it's like do something, do something. But yeah.
Yes, especially the spaghetti westerns, where in the vein of Italian cinema, quite brooding at times. But we Americans, we need our gunfights quick and fast.
We know what we want, and I want explosions, and I want guns, and I want it now.
Yeah.
Should we take a quick break? That's why I like No Time to Die.
Yeah, we'll take a quick break and come back and talk about. We'll jump into the meat, the top 5.
Where in the shit do you think you're going?
Out.
Out? Oh, no, you don't. No, we're gonna stay in here and you're gonna tell me exactly what's going on with you and that thing in the attic.
That thing. It's a girl.
You're in love with her, aren't you?
Yes.
Admit it.
I just said yes.
I knew it! It's never gonna work out. No. No, she's too old for you, and you're ugly. You know, she's gonna leave you. You know that, don't you? So, here's what's gonna happen, you little shit. You're gonna put this on, okay? You're gonna forget about that disgusting Jewy cow up there, and you're gonna come back to me where you belong. Right? Put it on. And then we're gonna pretend none of this ever happened. You got it? You wanna heil me? Come on, for old time's sake. Heil me, little man.
No.
Heil me.
No.
A little high, just a little high, please.
Fuck off, Hitler.
And we're back.
So,
All right, it's time for the meat. Our top 5 favorite movies of the year, starting with number 5 for me. The Paul Thomas Anderson coming of age story, I guess. Licorice Pizza, which still not entirely, even after seeing the movie, I'm not entirely sure what the name means. I guess it's sort of like two things that shouldn't go together, but do. But I don't think Licorice Pizza does go together. But again, I don't know if that's important. This is a bold move by PTA. I think really only a handful of directors could have really pulled this off, and also could have convinced the studio to let them pull this off. Led by 2 first-time actors. Cooper Hoffman plays Gary Valentine, a young, basically hustler. Great performance by Cooper. And across from him we have Alana Haim, who is from apparently the pop group Haim, which I will not pretend to be familiar with. But funnily or interestingly enough, basically her entire family is in this. So the music group Haim is her and her 2 sisters.
that's cool.
And then her mother and father play her mother and father, and of course her 2 sisters are her 2 sisters in this movie.
Nepotism.
Is that nepotism? I mean, they're not related to Paul Thomas Anderson. Is that what nepotism is? I'm actually not sure.
I guess, technically, I think it might be.
I mean, she's very good. I mean, obviously, we talked about in relation to the Golden Globes, Cooper Hoffman has some pretty high odds at the moment for Best Actor, which I still will be quite shocked if he gets even a nomination as a first-time actor, and as somebody who's very young, the Academy is resistant to do stuff like that. But he's very good, but I think she's even better. She's so good in this movie. It's so funny. It's the funniest movie I've seen all year by a pretty wide margin. I just laughed my ass off. It's a testament to a man who brought us There Will Be Blood, a movie that is not funny at all, can also be this hilarious. And if you haven't seen Licorice Pizza, I know it's only in theaters right now. It's people not going to theaters. I get it. If you're waiting for it to come to your this is one of the few movies I will tell you go ahead and watch it on your TV. It's not like a big movie theater experience, but these performances are fantastic, and it's a joy. It's a real joy to watch. There's a lot of great performances coming out of this movie. I have to shout out Bradley Cooper, who is just playing the shit out of his, like, I think he has like 10 minutes of screen time, but he's so fucking funny. He plays John Peters, who is a real guy. I hope an exaggerated version of him because he's basically trying to fuck everything that moves in this movie. It's
No, it's actually true.
it's great. Corey, what's your number 5?
My number 5 is The Suicide Squad. Redemption for that. I don't even know if it's redemption for a franchise. It's just like the polar opposite of what a.
I'm annoyed they called it The Suicide Squad though, because you have to like now from the rest of the time I have to go The Suicide Squad instead of just Suicide Squad.
I mean, like, I kind of like it though. It's like it's just like the actual one.
Yeah,
So I kind of like it for that one. Like this is not that one. This is the Suicide Squad. But no, I just thought it was. We talked about this movie a lot. I think when we talked about it the first time, but. My favorite, I think it was like DC's my favorite DC movie in the last few years. But besides that, I think it was just a really fun, well done action movie. It's very cool to see James Gunn do this same like superhero team dynamic without any kind of filter. Not that I can imagine like Star-Lord saying fuck as much as they say fuck in this movie.
Yeah,
but this
how much
movie
fun would it be if he did?
Be a lot of fun actually. But I love how loved how off the wall this movie was. Each little segment was great. I love the Harley Quinn scenes. Just across the board, I thought it was a lot of fun. This was yeah, I think this was just like it's just violent fun. And it's definitely not meant to be watched with people who aren't expecting a rated R film for sure.
I think I can't remember if my family watched this movie without me or I don't think we saw it together, but they hate this movie, which I think tells you everything you need to know about how great it is. It's over the top, brutally fun. It's brutally violent, brutally funny.
Brutally funny. I think I cannot. It's like I think to me the same movie that's make or break if you're gonna enjoy this movie is their killing of their entire rebel camp, and if you like it's violent as hell, but it's genuinely funny the entire time. And the end payoff joke makes it even better.
On rewatch, it is one of the one scene on rewatch because I have seen this movie twice now. I was like, I don't know if I should laugh at this. I still
I was
did,
laughing.
I
laughed.
I wasn't sure if I should be laughing at it.
Just John Cena's casual stabbing of that guy as he walked by. Also, John Cena's funny as shit in this. That was
has me
the biggest.
Very excited for this Peacemaker
yes,
TV show that's coming.
I am excited for the
Peacemaker
which
I wouldn't have been before, and then this movie shouldn't have been anywhere near as good as it was. And he's a lot of his chemistry with kind of everybody, but especially Idris Elba is why this movie is as good as it was.
Favorite kind of character evolution through the movie. Not even evolution. I just really like what they did with that character from the get-go.
Yeah.
Did not lie about what they were doing. Che, what's your number 4?
My number 4 could not be more different. Another movie that you will have heard of from the 2021 Oscars. If you lived in England or again where it was able to go to Sundance, you got to see this in 2021. If you were anybody else on planet Earth, you didn't see this until February 2021. I'm said some year wrong there. All the numbers have jumbled themselves together. But this is The Father, Florian Zeller's character piece, I guess is the best way to describe it. It is the story of Anthony Hopkins plays a man who is struggling with dementia, and his daughter, played by Olivia Colman, and all of these characters, either real or imagined, is unclear, of course, by the structure of the movie, filtering in and out of his life, played by Imogen Poots, Rufus Sewell, Olivia Williams, Mark Gatiss. Kind of every performance, everybody that steps on the screen is amazing, but obviously the one that steals the show is Anthony Hopkins. Unfortunately, in the same way that another one of my favorite movies, La La Land, will always be tainted by the Oscars. I think the first line of this movie's obituary will always be, it's the movie that stole Chadwick Boseman's Oscar. I don't think that's fair on Anthony Hopkins or the performance or the movie at all. I think he's fucking incredible. We talked about it a lot last year. There's no reason to relitigate it here. But I found this movie obviously quite difficult to watch. This is, especially anybody who has known somebody struggling with dementia. This is a very brutal look at a man losing his relation with reality, and it's tough. But that being said, Anthony Hopkins' performance is beautiful. I mean, it is absolutely incredible what he is able to do with just just smallest facial expressions. I mean, he has these conversations with people and doesn't move an inch in the scene. Like, he'll basically stand still and still manages to steal every second of screen time, which I think is the real testament to like a master actor, which Anthony Hopkins obviously is one of the most celebrated actors of all time. In a lot of ways, this feels like the culmination of a career, which is why, again, like I said, I didn't want to relitigate it, but I'm not as annoyed by the Oscar as everybody else is. Obviously, I wanted Chadwick Boseman to get his Oscar posthumously, but there's a reason this movie is as high up on my list as it is. This performance is fucking incredible. That's all I really can say about him.
I still didn't give that a watch.
It is, yeah.
When I'm in a bad
it's
mood.
very,
Or
very good.
in a good mood. I can't tell which mood I want to be in when I watch it.
I would say, actually, that's interesting. I guess that's a personal thing. Are you the kind of person who, when you're like, not asking you personally, but I guess you could answer. But like, there are two kinds of people who I think are, if they're sad, listen to sad music, or if they're sad, listen to happy music. If you're the kind of person that's sad and listens to happy music, do not watch this movie when you're down, because it will bring you low, low, low. Especially the end. The end is.
I will remember that.
But Corey, what's your number 4?
My number 4 is The French Dispatch. Wait, no. Is that right? No, that's not right. I'm sorry. I just saw The Father, and I forgot that I was going.
because we've done this the opposite way the entire time.
Guys, this is the 4th one, guys. I'm so sorry. Spider-Man No Way Home.
Never heard of it. What's this movie about?
It's about Spider-Man. And he has no way to get home. And I'm not going to say anything about it because I realize we're still in spoiler territory. So
yeah, I guess technically this is still... although, judging by the amount of money this made, I think everyone on planet Earth has seen this movie already.
That could be true. But no, I really thought it was... I think I talked to Che about this earlier. Like, I didn't know which one was between this one and Homecoming, which my favorite. But I don't know. I think it's always going to be a back and forth conversation with me. But it definitely felt like a good return to like that superhero feeling, I guess. And I know Che's not as big of a fan as I am, but I did really enjoy like that sense of like kind of normalcy with returning to theater. I don't know.
Yeah.
Don't know, that's the best way to put it.
That's not...
No, not normalcy. Just like the event that it is.
I love going to the theater.
No, the event that is going to a superhero film. I know what you're talking about.
I just wish every...
Che doesn't like... Che hates children.
I do hate children.
And
that's
people having
fair.
fun.
Yeah, no, well, yes, obviously. Get
All
the
right,
fuck
Che,
off
what's your
my
number
lawn.
3? Go to your number 3.
My number 3 is Judas and the Black Messiah. It feels like a billion years since this movie came out, but it was just January 2021. This was the beginning, I think. No. Sorry, this was February 2021, and I was gonna say this was the beginning of the HBO Max experience, but no, January 2021 was that horrible Jared Leto, Denzel Washington movie.
Oh, I forgot about that movie.
The name is escaping me, but
God,
that's not on my list. Don't
movie.
worry.
Cool poster though.
Cool poster, great.
That's all I remember about it.
Great two leads. Terrible fucking movie. But this is the story of course, Fred Hampton and his assassination by the FBI, and how that assassination comes to be by the Judas, Bill O'Neill. It is an incredibly made movie. This is a Shaka King directed film, starring Daniel Kaluuya, Lakeith Stanfield, Jesse Plemons, who's had another great year. Just one of those guys who's like, he's kind of like if you listen to our comic episode, he's like the Tom Taylor of actors for me. Where like I never think about Jesse Plemons as one of my favorite actors, and then every time I think of anything he's been in, I love it. So, yeah, this movie it's infuriating. It makes me so fucking angry that it's a real thing that happened to somebody. But it is fantastic. Just a slew of great performances, excellent directing, and just vital viewing. If you like don't really know the story of Fred Hampton, this is a great entry level. I want to say entry level. You should watch this movie and then go read more on him, because he is a fascinating and very important character in American history. And like like I said again, just Kaluuya and Stanfield are amazing, just incredible performances. All right, Corey, your number 3, which we spoiled a little bit, but
Yeah, no, Wes Anderson's The French Dispatch.
I'm very, very glad you put this movie out here because I couldn't
Yes.
quite fit it, and I love this movie just like you.
It's just a very as it can be dark at times, it is just a very pleasant film. It's kind of like what I guess it's a bit of Wes Anderson's thing. It's just pleasant with a hint of sadness, I guess. Yeah. But I think this was, from a technical standpoint, I think this is probably his most impressive film.
It's
I just
certainly
loved
the most
everything.
like, visually stunning of his
That's what,
movies.
yeah, visually stunning. I liked his like style and choices that he made throughout this film. It felt very him. I mean, I'm not really usually into vignettes. It's honestly just not my favorite genre of like movies. Make a miniseries, whatever. But
Don't
I
do that
liked
to me,
it.
Corey, because if Wes Anderson is out here to make a miniseries, I might die from.
I'm sorry for trying to put that into your brain, but I mean, like, it's not my favorite of Wes Anderson's films, but I definitely really enjoyed it. And if you haven't had a chance to go watch it yourselves, I really recommend it.
What is your favorite Wes Anderson movie, out of curiosity?
Might be Grand Budapest.
I do fucking love Grand Budapest. Yeah,
It
I think
might be
I am
Grand
with you.
Budapest.
I know everyone is probably Royal Tenenbaums, Screaming Royal Tenenbaums.
I don't like Royal Tenenbaums. I'm like the one person who doesn't like Royal Tenenbaums. I don't think.
It is.
I
think it is.
I should give it a
acquired
chance
taste,
again.
For sure.
I should give it another chance again. So I think I watched it like right after Grand Budapest, and I'm like, I don't like this basically, and I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'll give it another chance, everybody. But yeah, no, it's yeah. But I think it might be Grand Budapest, but I don't know.
I am with
like
you though.
I like Moonrise Kingdom a bit too.
I think there's only really I do not vibe with the Darjeeling Limited.
I could not
it's
make
not,
it
It's
through
not
that
a
one.
hot take. I don't think
I think I've turned that movie off like 3 different times. Just like I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do something else.
I do think
And
Wes
I've
Anderson gets called boring a lot because I think there are people who just want their movies to be like he is not one to make a fast paced movie, except for actually the Grand Budapest Hotel gets pretty exciting at times, but and I disagree with the criticism except when it comes to the Darjeeling Limited. I don't understand how he made a movie where nothing happens. It's like it's not like Seinfeld where nothing happens. It's like paint drying where nothing happens. I don't understand.
Fun.
But yeah, I'm with you. I fucking love the French Dispatch. If you, I have again, people have leveled the criticism of boring of this movie. I couldn't disagree more. Every frame is a painting. How the fuck are you gonna call a painting boring? I just think it's incredible. So good. But yeah, Corey, anything you want to say? Anything else you want to say about French Dispatch before we move on?
I mean, like, yeah, no, I don't think I have much else to say about it. I think if you guys haven't given it a chance to watch it yet, I really recommend it. It's weird because like now I'm like gonna go rewatch it sometime soon, but I kind of just want to skip ahead to certain parts where I mean, especially I think Jeffrey Wright's part, I could just watch.
Yeah,
I could have just watched that as a movie.
the Jeffrey Wright and the first story, not the first story, the second one, the prison art with
yes, the prison art one was fantastic. Yes, but let's as we get to the end. Che and I will now decide.
Yeah, what's the game time?
About.
Should we just go to break and then talk about because our 2 and 1
Yes.
are the same, reversed.
Yes. Yes.
Um,
I think we did the same thing with Moonlight and La La Land.
No, it was
correctly.
Moonlight. I think we did the same with Blade Runner and Dunkirk.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. Why did I pick Dunkirk? Weird. Okay. Did you
I
pick
love
Dunkirk?
fucking love Dunkirk. I had Blade Runner first.
I'm just wondering which one I picked first. I wonder why Dunkirk stuck with my. I love both of them. I was wondering why Dunkirk stuck in my mind enough to be like.
I think because you saw it at IMAX and Dunkirk at IMAX.
Oh, yeah.
will
No, I was-
blow your
yeah.
brains out the back of your head.
I was so deaf. My ears were ringing for like a day, and it was
Yeah.
awesome. All right.
Well, yeah, we'll take a quick break and then we'll come back and talk about basically our 2 and 1s together. So.
How's your leg
Hurts a little.
and your stomach?
Empty as a football.
And do you love life?
Not too active.
Anything else bothering you?
Mm-hmm. Who are you?
Reading from top to bottom. Lisa. Carol. Fremont.
Is this the Lisa Fremont who never wears the same dress twice?
Only because it's expected of her. It's right off the Paris plane. You think it'll sell?
And we're back.
What's up?
All right. I mean, it was, like we said, our 2-in-1s are Dune and The Green Knight, which should shock basically no human being that's listened to this podcast even once in the last year.
None.
My number 2 is Dune, and my number 1 is The Green Knight, and Corey has those reversed. So why don't we start with The Green Knight? I just think closing out with Dune will be a lot of fun. So
Yeah.
The Green Knight is the Dev Patel-led fantasy modern retelling of the classic King Arthur's poem about Sir Gawain, directed by Dave Lowery, and just holy shit, this movie is. I honestly just didn't know what to expect. I didn't really.
Yeah, I
any
didn't
idea
know
what I was
either.
getting into, and then
I thought it was maybe going to be like a horror film.
Yeah.
I didn't exactly know either. I was just like, Che, I think this came out, so I'm going to go watch it. I don't remember which one of us watched it first, honestly, but I remember walking out and just being like stunned.
I did. No, I think
might
you
have.
did. I think you saw it, and
Yeah.
then you were like, you texted me, you were like, tell me when you go see Green Knight. I was like, I'm going tomorrow. So
Yeah, no,
we
it was
saw pretty close to each other.
But like, yeah, it was like one of those. Like, it's one of those moments you walk out of a movie theater and it's just like, wow, what the fuck did I just watch? And I want more of this. And I was thinking, I'm like, can he just like make a whole like Knights of the Round Table series and just like, can you just do this as like your life now? I know this would take many years, but I love this, and I mean, always had wanted a King Arthur like movie that was good, but this isn't what I expected it to be.
Hold on. King Arthur and the Legend of the Sword is a great movie. What do you mean? Corey, look at me. Look at me, Corey.
No.
King Arthur and the
No.
Legend of the Sword is a great movie.
No,
Are you telling me that's not a great movie?
No. But no, this was just it was a weird, like, it felt like an epic. It felt like it was weird, like the stops that he had to take on his way there. It felt disjointed. Like, I even like the little shit, like the fucking giants that, like, it just felt cool. It just felt very out there, and it felt like I was watching a fairy tale, but not like sugar coated.
It is. We talked about The French Dispatch being visually stunning. This is, for me, the most beautiful just to look at. I mean, we're going to talk about Dune in a second, which is like visually overwhelming in a lot of ways, I think. In a good way. I think it just like sort of envelops you. But The Green Knight is like there are thousands of shots from this that I would hang on my wall in a frame. The way that Lowery uses color and framing is amazing. And I mean, not for nothing, Dev Patel is like, I honestly just think I don't really know how to say this. He's like the perfect looking lead for this movie.
Yes, I think so too.
He fits so beautifully into all of these scenes, in a way that I'm just surprised that Lowery, or maybe just the casting director is to credit for this, but whoever had the foresight to cast Patel in this film, it's not like we're not breaking any new bounds saying that it's like a bit of a risk to cast a
person of color
in a King Arthur movie.
Yeah, and I like it. Like, they took the swing of it. They didn't acknowledge it at all, and it's just like they cast it in the way that it made sense and that it was believable. And I was like, okay, yeah, no, this makes sense. It's like, fuck it, who cares? It's cool. And he's great in it. Yeah, no, he's fantastic in it.
And not just him. I mean, Alicia Vikander, Joel Edgerton,
Yeah.
Sarita Chowdhury. I mean, the cast really from top to bottom is fantastic in this movie. I'm sort of obsessed with everything Alicia Vikander does in this. I've seen this twice in theaters and once at home now at this point, and I rewound all of her scenes over and over again. One, because I still am not 100% sure if she's supposed to be his mother in the later scenes or not. I know there's different
don't
readings of it.
confuse me. Don't confuse me, please. I don't know.
I'm also
No, stop it.
I also don't really. I know people do this thing where they're like, every time I Google a movie now, and I guess this has been the case for a while, but I just started noticing it recently. There's the first thing that comes up after like the IMDb is like ending explained. Why does everyone need every ending explained to them? Just sometimes you can just let a thing be a thing.
Why did everyone think? I don't know. I just didn't. Is it weird that I just didn't like? I wasn't confused by the ending.
Yeah, I mean, I think the ending is open-ended. I don't know if it's confusing.
Really?
I think you
I
can.
didn't think it was open ended at all. Honestly,
No?
I thought like no. I thought the entire. Is this? Can I just say a spoiler?
Yeah. I think at this point, if you haven't seen the
it's
Green Knight,
like-
you're probably not going to see the Green Knight. So
Yeah, I think no. It's like I mean, when he did that thing, I think the whole journey was him supposed to be understanding what it's meant to be brave and to be a knight.
Yeah.
And when the Green Knight himself is him just teaching him that lesson. And when he does like off with your head, it's more just like, well, I did the thing that you like came here to do. Yeah. Like that's pretty much what I thought. It was just like he did the thing, and it was just like, okay, you conquered your fear of dying.
Yeah.
And to me, that was like kind of the whole point of his journey. And that like his like realization with it, and I guess like I think the whole point of the Green Knight was to pretty much get to that point as a character. Like, I don't even think he would have died if he left, to be honest. But yeah, no, I thought in my mind it was just like, oh, haha, it was just like more of like kind of a life lesson for him, and which I kind of felt like that was like the point of a lot of these like old King Arthur stories, where like literal things, but like I don't know, it's like it's fantastical things kind of brought to literal meanings in a sense, but I don't know. That's just my interpretation of it.
no, I think that's what I mean by open ended. I think you can get sort of multiple, and not. I don't think any of that movies can be multiple things to different people, whatever the intention is. And of course, Lowry has talked about, and I read a couple of interviews with him. He's talked about what this movie is supposed to mean when he created it. But I don't think artistic intention is all that important when you're interpreting a film. Obviously, he really wanted this movie to be about man's relationship with nature, and how, especially now, it's a combative relationship. We are destroying nature, in a sense, nature is destroying us back in a lot of ways. And obviously that's the main crux of it, but he also talks about, of course, the relationship between son and mother. Lowry openly has talked about how he has a complicated relationship with his mother. I think the phrase he used, that he stayed at home too long when he was growing up, and he resented her for it. Which I think is very evident in this movie. We have Gawain goes out on his journey in a lot of ways because he feels like his mother is pushing him to become something that he doesn't want to be.
She summoned the freaking night thing.
Yeah,
And it's just
yeah.
so it's just
And of course that is from the original play. I mean the original poem, but you don't know it in the poem until the end. The reveal at the end is that this whole thing has been because of Morgan Le Fay, who is his mother, and then of course the cousin of King Arthur and Merlin and all that stuff. In the movie, you see her summoning her and the.
I didn't even realize.
witches.
I forgot that Morgan Le Fay was King Arthur's sister until like I think the credits. I'm like, oh, okay, that's who the fuck it was, and like it took me like I forgot. I don't even know they refer to her as Morgan.
No, I think she's just credited as mother, but obviously it becomes if you do any googling about this movie, it'll come up that she's Morgan Le Fay if you didn't remember that. I'm with you that I thought this movie was about what it meant to be a man and what it meant to be a knight and what it meant to be noble, because that is so much of the themes going forward. And there's like these trials, and that what I thought the movie was all these trials of Gawain, and if he passed or failed. And of course he fails every single one leading to the end. He doesn't do the first one, of course, the headless woman. He doesn't retrieve her head for noble reasons. He asks, what do I get in return? Of course she says, how dare you ask me that? Obviously the trial of not having sex with your host's wife, he failed in. Honestly,
he didn't have sex with her.
Top 5 most uncomfortable scenes of the year for me.
Yeah, that was that scene was rough. I didn't love. That was the one scene I'm like, what's happening? Oh, that's what happened.
Especially
wish I didn't watch that.
Especially if the reading of the character is that's supposed to be his mother. Did not like that.
I don't think it was his. Never mind. Let's just.
I think a lot of people think.
I don't think that was his mom. I don't know. That's just me.
I hope it's not. I hope you're right. But I thought all that was the case until, and I'm with you, until we get the end where we get I guess it's a alternate version of the ending of his life, where we see he finally succeeds or does what it is to be a man. He makes the correct decision. I thought that was what the movie was suggesting. But then, of course, the payoff, the reward, the consequence for making the decision to not die for the stupid reasons of nobility is that he has a miserable life, disappoints everybody he's ever known, and dies a coward in his own castle. And that's where the ending for me I still struggle with. But that doesn't deter me from the fact that I fucking love this movie. I kind of love that it's at the end, to me at least. I know you don't think so, but I think the end to me is a little bit of a puzzle box that I kind of love. I love that. I love that I can sort of grab anything I want from this movie. And again, the reason that it's number one for me is because on the backs of David Lowery and Dev Patel have teamed up to make something like visually and artistically fucking incredible. Discord having a little bit of technical difficulties, but we said kind of everything we needed to say about the Green Knight, so we are going to throw it to Corey's number one, mine number two, and again, honestly, if you ask me tomorrow, I might have these flipped. Yeah,
same here.
They're both so different and also both so fucking great that I it does not. I don't think there's a big gap between the two. But of course, we're talking about Denis Villeneuve's 2021 sci-fi epic Dune: Part 1.
They left the part 1 out of the advertising.
But it just makes people so angry for some reason, and I kind of love it.
I was talking to somebody about the movie, who actually is a fan of the books, and they were like, "I like the David Lynch version better," and I'm like,
"No,
but
come on, don't do that. Don't." First of all, if you like the books,
no, and I was like, "But why?"
Not...
No, and I was like, "But why?" It's like because they told the entire story, and I'm like, "Why would you want to rush it?"
Well, I mean, I've said this before. I think the worst thing that ever happened to Harry Potter is that it got popular before TV shows were a thing.
You know they're gonna have a TV show adaptation in the future.
Well, sure, okay, but I mean like that. Yeah. Books.
No, you're right, 100%.
Yeah, my point is just that books should be split over multiple. I mean, I think Dune will work as 3 movies. I think it seems like it's fine. I mean, we'll see. But I just think books are long.
Yeah,
movies are not as long.
Especially epics. I mean, some books, yes, you can contain it into a movie, but like, let's say, like for example, like Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, like Dune. It's better to take your time because a lot happens.
Yeah.
And I think besides that, I think this movie is fucking just a masterpiece.
Yes.
I
mean,
it is. I still think about it. I've only watched it that one time, but I still think about the visuals from that movie, the music, the acting, just the set design, the costumes. It's everything that I feel like I was reading in the book, but someone made it better.
Yeah. Not for nothing. The only people I've heard say they don't like this movie, really, are people who didn't go to the movies theater to watch this. I understand, again, we are in the middle of a fucking global pandemic. I'm not going to say you need to go to the movies. You need to go out of your house, kind of quite literally risking your life to go watch a movie. I get it. But this is not a movie you can watch at home on a TV. In most people's TVs, maybe you're Jeff Bezos and you've got an IMAX theater in your living room or something. But I think most people's TVs just don't do this movie justice. And I understand if you're saying, well, but shouldn't the plot be enough to keep me invested? I think so much of the plot is wrapped up in the visuals of this movie. There are moments where basically nothing's happening on screen. It's characters kind of standing still in these epic landscapes, and the narrative of that moment is you looking around this planet that Villeneuve has created in front of you. You looking at the salt or the whatever they call the harvesters. Like, it's just I don't really get how somebody could have watched this movie and been bored, but I'm also obsessed with Villeneuve as a filmmaker. He's made some of my favorite stuff ever in the last few years, and they're also drastically different. Although I guess this is kind of like Arrival. In Rivals, like
it's like if Arrival and Blade Runner kind of just had a baby.
Yeah, very like sort of slower paced sci-fi that's very brooding and
but like this
beautiful
like the
to look at. Yeah,
and like the kind of like technology they use though, he like just kind of like sometimes it looks like it's gritty and like falling apart, but other times it looks like smooth and like ridiculous, and just I love it. Yeah, it's I love this movie. I mean, like, if it's like it ever comes back out to IMAX, guys, you have the opportunity to do it, I would recommend it. Like, I'm hopeful. I'm so hopeful to some insane company to be like, we're putting out an IMAX, and then we're gonna put the second one out like in the same day. I would go there and I would sit for those 6 hours. I'd fucking do it.
Yeah, I mean, so would I. I'm also, but we're psychopaths, so I mean, I don't know if there's a big market for that at the moment.
I did watch all 3 John Wicks in one sitting in a movie theater, which was awesome.
I still remember, and they probably, I guess not right now, but they did it when movie theaters were at the peak, where people would go and watch all 9 hours of Lord of the Rings in one sitting.
Oof.
Which is, I'm like, relaxed. Chief.
That's a lot. No, I mean, I think
I saw
tried
Workday.
I tried to do that like on a Saturday.
Yeah.
At
home. At home is different than like in a movie theater.
Yeah, no, but even like by Return of the King, I was like tapping out. Like it was like too much in the mountains.
Especially if you watch the director's cuts, which are like
I watched
5
the
hours
director's
each.
cut. Yes,
because Peter Jackson's crazy. But yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I couldn't be more. There is officially no movie I'm more excited for than Dune's Part 2 and 3, which I guess have been officially confirmed.
Yeah.
And a lot of that is because obviously Villeneuve, like I said, fucking incredible. But I just think the clear thing about this first movie is we just are scratching the surface of how amazing this the casting in this movie is. Obviously, Timothée Chalamet and Rebecca Ferguson are get the vast majority of the screen time of the cast, but in parts 2 and 3, we're going to get more Zendaya, more Stellan Skarsgård, more Dave Bautista, more. I think more Stephen McKinley. No, sorry, not more Stephen. Stephen McKinley's fucking dead, isn't he?
Oh yeah, no, I think he's dead. Yeah.
But I think
I do. I love how he was able to get these actors to sign on and be like, yo, there might be a movie where you can do a lot in.
Yeah. More Javier Bardem. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention
Absolutely. Very excited for more Javier.
I think the casting of this was so on point, and it is kind of an easy decision because like who else are you gonna get besides Timothée Chalamet? We already found out that casting like a 40-year-old man as a child was a mistake. We don't like shout out to my boy Kyle MacLachlan, but
what are you talking about? He was so young.
Not the move. Okay, sure. He was young. He was younger than 40.
He
but
was
he
an
did
old
have,
face, though.
He had Tobey Maguire old man face.
He is an old
sure.
face.
Yeah.
Very much so. Che, should we run down our top 10 and to close out this wonderful week of podcasting that I'm totally not dead from? Why do we do this?
Because, I mean, I honestly don't know. Yes, let's do it. All right. my 10 through 1. I have Come On at 10. Number 9, The Power of the Dog. Number 8, Minari. Number 7, The Tragedy of Macbeth. Number 6, The Harder They Fall. Number 5, Licorice Pizza. 4, The Father. 3, Judas and the Black Messiah. 2, Dune. And number 1, The Green Knight.
And for me, number 10, No Sudden Moves. Number 9, Mitchells vs. the Machines. Number 8, Shang-Chi and the 10 Rings. Number 7, No Time to Die. Number 6, The Harder They Fall. Number 5, The Suicide Squad. Number 4, Spider-Man No Way Home. Number 3, The French Dispatch. Number 2, The Green Knight. And number 1, Dune.
Just a collection of great movies. This was a great movie year, which, because I think a lot of these movies obviously got pushed from 2020, especially in comparison to last year, was a rough movie year. So I'm really excited that movies are back. If you're looking for great stuff, a lot of the stuff is available at home at the moment, and then of course the rest of it will be available at home soon, so you can go watch it. But as Cory said, that concludes our list week episodes. If you have not listened to the other ones, you can find those all at nexttimeon.net or on your RSS feed wherever you listen to this podcast, or in the YouTube. Which, if you're listening to the podcast, in the description. If you're on the YouTube right now, just go check out the channel. You'll see them all there. And of course, don't forget to like and subscribe. But anything else for the people, Cory?
No, I don't think so. Hope you guys have a wonderful new year.
Yeah, and we'll be back with our episode 250 special, which we haven't officially decided we've got a couple ideas bouncing around what we should do, but yeah, that'll be pretty exciting.
Yes, looking forward to that.
Well, I've been Che.
I've been Cory.
We'll see you guys next time.
Bye.